Don't spend another coin until you watch this. Some ordinary-looking American coins hiding in pockets, piggy banks, and old jars could be worth thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even life-changing money. Today, we're revealing some of the most valuable rare U.S. coins you need to check right now, because one small detail, mint mark, or rare error could turn an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. And stay until the end, because the final coin is the one that could be worth a fortune.
Hold on to your loose change, because the penny you just ignored could be a six-figure ticket to a new life. We are talking about the 1969 double die obverse Lincoln cent. A coin so rare and so controversial that the United States Secret Service once tried to destroy it, thinking it was a counterfeit. But before we get into that wild story, let's talk about that penny jar on your dresser. We are talking about the 1969 double die obverse Lincoln cent. A coin that looks like someone printed the words Liberty and In God We Trust with a shaky hand. And because of that mistake, a single penny just sold for over $600,000. Now, look at the screen. This is what you were looking for. The date is 1969, and right next to it, you need to see that tiny S mint mark. That means it was struck in San Francisco. And on this specific penny, you have to look at the words. Do you see the letters Liberty? On a normal coin, they are crisp. On this one, they are doubled. The letters look like they have a shadow, or a ghost image, slightly offset to the right. You can see this with the naked eye. You don't even need a magnifying glass. The word Liberty is blurred. In God We Trust is blurred. Even the date, 1969, is doubled. That is the double die obverse error. It happened during the die-making process at the mint. The die was struck twice, but it was slightly misaligned the second time, creating that iconic double image. Most double dies are subtle, but this one is so bold it's undeniable. And that is what makes it a holy grail for collectors. So, how did this penny, which is just over 50 years old, end up being worth more than a house? In 1970, a man named Bill Hudson found a roll of these pennies in a bank. He immediately knew something was off. The letters were just too weird. He tried to show them to the government. And what did they do? They suspected him of counterfeiting. The Secret Service actually stepped in. They believed these pennies were high-quality fakes. They confiscated a number of them and destroyed at least 5, thinking they were doing their duty to protect the currency. They thought it was a forgery. It took a lot of fighting, but eventually, the mint realized the mistake. The Secret Service hadn't caught a criminal. They had seized one of the rarest treasures in modern coinage. It turns out, only about 30 to 50 of these pennies are known to exist today. That is it. Out of the billions of pennies made, only a tiny handful made it out of the San Francisco Mint before the error was caught. And that, right there, is why the price goes through the roof. Now, here is the part where your heart might start racing. In January 2023, a perfect example of this coin, graded MS66 red, sold at auction for a staggering $601,875. Even a circulated one, not in perfect condition, can easily fetch $20,000 to $40,000. This penny turns a family heirloom into a college fund. But wait, do not go digging through your pocket just yet. There is a catch. The ones that made the news are specifically the 1969s. It must have the S mint mark for San Francisco. The Philadelphia and Denver versions did not have this error. If you find a 1969D, it's likely just worth 1 cent unless it has a different error like no FG. And if you see a 1969S that looks doubled, but it's on a proof coin, be cautious, because the fakes are out there. So here is the million-dollar question. Could you have one of these in that old shoebox from your grandparents? I want you to pause this video right now and do me a favor. Look at a 1969 penny you have. Check the date. Check the mint mark. Look at the letters. If you see that blurriness on the words, do not spend it. Keep it safe. You might have just found a life-changing piece of history. And if you do find one, make sure to get it graded by PCGS or NGC to prove it's real. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this dive into hidden treasure, like the video and subscribe. We are here every week showing you how to turn pocket change into your next payday. Good luck and start searching. You're about to find out why a single penny in your pocket could be worth more than a mansion. Don't go anywhere. Because if you have a penny from 1975 that has no mint mark, or a very specific mint mark, it could be worth $1 million. But you have to know exactly what you're looking for, and there's a huge twist that 99% of people miss. Stay with me, because this one secret detail is the difference between 1 cent and $1 million. Let's get this straight. You are looking for a 1975 penny. I want you to take a mental picture right now. Grab a handful of change, or just watch closely, because this is the kind of coin that disappears from circulation without anyone knowing they just spent a fortune. Alright, here's the story. You are at a garage sale. The year is 1998. You find a dusty old tin can full of pennies and you buy it for $5. You dump it out on your kitchen table, and you're just sorting through them to fill up your penny folder. You see a shiny Lincoln cent from 1975. It looks clean. It looks perfectly normal. It just looks like a penny. You're about to toss it in the common date pile until you flip it over. You look at the front, at the obverse, where the date is. You see 1975. But then, you look at the back, and you see something missing. There is no letter. There is no D. There is no S. Just the building. Just the Lincoln Memorial. On most pennies, that's normal, right? Wrong. Here is where the mystery deepens. In 1975, the U.S. Mint produced pennies in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Now, the Philadelphia Mint usually didn't put a mint mark on pennies. So a 1975 penny with no mint mark at all, that's the standard business strike, worth 1 cent. No big deal. The Denver Mint puts a D. The San Francisco Mint puts an S. Simple. But there is a massive, expensive catch. And this is where people lose their minds. You see, in 1975, the San Francisco Mint made a special batch of pennies. They were proof coins. These were the shiny, mirror-like coins made specifically for collectors. And every single one of those proof coins from San Francisco is supposed to have an S mint mark. Every one. Except for one. Or maybe, just maybe, a handful. We're talking about the legendary 1975 no S proof penny. This coin is the holy grail. It's the unicorn. If you find a 1975 penny that is a proof coin, meaning it has that super sharp, polished, mirror finish, but it doesn't have an S on the front, you have hit the jackpot. Let's build the suspense here. Imagine you find that coin. You see that reflective surface. You look where the mint mark should be, right next to the date, right under the 1975. There is no S. Your heart starts pounding. Are you rich? Now, let me reveal the value. The 1975 no S proof Lincoln cent is one of the rarest modern coins in existence. It is estimated that only 1 or 2 exist. Yes, you heard me right. 1 or 2. When one of these coins went to auction, the bidding went crazy. I'm talking about collectors literally fighting over this tiny piece of copper and zinc. The final hammer price? It sold for well over $1 million. In fact, a specimen graded by PCGS as PR67 red sold for $1,035,000. That is 7 figures. $1 million for a penny. But wait, there is a massive twist coming that you absolutely need to know. Because you might be looking at a penny right now and thinking, my coin is shiny. It has no mint mark. But before you quit your job, you have to understand something critical. It's the proof factor. A regular 1975 penny from Philadelphia also has no mint mark. But it looks dull. It looks like the coin in your soda machine. The no S coin is a proof coin. It has a mirror-like background. It has a frosted, sculpted look to Lincoln's face. If you hold a regular penny and a proof penny side by side, the proof looks like it's wearing a tuxedo, and the regular penny looks like it's wearing jeans. So, let's dig deeper. Let's talk about the D mint mark, too. If you find a 1975 penny with a D mint mark, that means it was made in Denver. Now, those are common. They're worth about 1 cent. But what if it has a D mint mark, but the D looks weird? It might be a mint error where the die was clogged with grease, making the D look like a blob. That could be worth a few bucks, maybe even $50. But the real money is only in the no S proof. Now, let's get into a story about how someone actually found one. There's a story of a young man who inherited his grandfather's coin collection. He took it to a dealer just to get an appraisal because he needed money for college. The dealer flipped through the books, barely looking at them, and then he stopped. His hands started shaking. He looked at a 1975 penny, and he saw the mirror finish. He looked at the date, and he looked for the S. It wasn't there. The dealer looked at the young man and said, "Son, you better sit down." The dealer then offered him a cashier's check for $25,000 on the spot. The young man almost took it, but he didn't. He waited, and he sent it to be graded. The coin came back certified as the real 1975 no S proof. He sold it at auction for over $800,000. That is a life-changing amount of money. This is the moment you need to pay attention. This is the call to action. Are you ready? I want you to do 2 things. First, pause this video right now. Go to your junk drawer, your piggy bank, or that jar of coins on your dresser. Look at every single 1975 penny you have. You need to look for the mirror finish. You need to check for the mint mark. And number 2, here is the ultimate question for you in the comments. Have you ever found a weird coin and spent it, only to wonder later if it was worth something? Tell me your story below. I read every single comment. Share this video with your friends, because if you all go hunting together, someone might find that $1 million coin. And trust me, you want to be the hero who finds it. Let's do a quick recap to make sure you don't miss it. The key is the no S mint mark, but it must be a proof coin. The proof coins have a S mint mark. If the S is missing, it's worth $1 million. If it's a regular 1975 penny with no mint mark, it's just a penny. So you need to look at the sharpness. Look at the reflection. Look at Lincoln's face. If the face is frosted and the background is shiny, and there's no S, call a professional. So, why is this coin so valuable? It's the mystery. The US Mint is a fortress of precision. Making a mistake like that is so rare that it adds a halo of intrigue. The coin isn't just a coin, it's a story. It's a mystery that you might just solve by checking your change. This is what I love about coin collecting. It turns ordinary things into treasure hunts. It's a rush of adrenaline every time you look at a coin because you just never know. And that's the real value here. It's not just the money. It's the hunt. It's the thrill of looking through change and feeling that excitement. Every single coin in your pocket has a history. It's been through hundreds of hands, thousands of transactions, and it all ends up with you. And maybe, just maybe, one of those coins has a secret identity. Now, you might be thinking, I'll never find one of those. But that's the exact attitude that keeps people poor. You don't have to just find a proof coin. There are other coins from 1975 that are worth a lot of money. What about errors? What about double dies? What about a coin that was struck on the wrong planchet? It happens. People have found millions of dollars in their pocket change just by paying attention. And that is my challenge to you. Stop ignoring your change. Your change is history. Your change is money. By the time you finish watching this video, I want you to go and look. I want you to check all your 1975 pennies. And if you find one with no mint mark and a mirror finish, you don't spend it. You don't clean it. You don't touch the faces. You email me. You send it to a grading service. And you prepare for a payday. Let's paint the picture. You find it. You send it in. You wait. You get the phone call. Congratulations, it's genuine. You could buy a house. You could pay off your student loans. You could travel the world. All from a single penny. That is the power of knowledge. That is the power of paying attention. That is why I make these videos. I want to help you see the world differently. I want you to realize that wealth hides in plain sight. It's not a lottery ticket. It's history. And history is sitting in your ashtray or in your coin jar. Now, I can't stress this enough. 99% of people who find rare coins damage them. They rub them. They clean them with soap and water. They put them in a pocket with other coins. If you find a coin that looks like it's worth money, don't clean it. Just put it in a soft cloth. Put it in a plastic baggie. Don't polish it. All that glitter they think they are adding is actually scratching the microscopic surface of the metal. A professional grading service will pay more for an ugly coin with original surfaces than a shiny coin that has been cleaned. So, you are now a detective. You are looking for clues. Is it a proof? Is there no S? Is the date 1975? If you hit all three, you win. And to make things even more interesting, what if you find a 1975 S proof coin? That's a normal proof coin, worth a few dollars. But still, it's cool to find a proof coin in circulation. That's a story itself. But the big money is in the no S. Let me tell you about the thrill of the hunt. There is a podcast story about a woman who literally found a 1975 no S proof penny in a parking lot. She almost stepped over it. She picked it up because it looked shiny. She tucked it into her bra, took it home, and threw it in a jar. Years later, she saw a video like this one, and she dug through her jar. She was shaking. She found it. She got it appraised and sold it for almost $1 million. That could be you. All right, listen. I want you to go to your scrap change jar. Start looking. Now. Right now. Pause this video if you have to, and just look. I want to hear about it in the comments. If you find something, even if it's not $1 million, tell us. We are a community of treasure hunters. And finally, as we wrap up, if you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of the 1975 penny, you're going to love what I have coming next week. I am going to show you a dime from the 1960s that is worth even more than this penny. It has a twist that will melt your brain. So if you don't want to miss out on that, if you want to be the first to know about hidden money secrets, smash that subscribe button. Hit the bell icon. Turn on notifications. Don't let your friends have all the fun and all the money. Thank you for sticking with me. You are now a part of the elite 1% who know the secrets of the 1975 penny. Go check your coins. Protect the shiny ones. And remember, the next coin you look at could be $1,000,000. Imagine this. You're holding a penny. Just a regular, dirty, copper penny you'd find in the bottom of your couch cushions. But what if I told you that penny, right now, could be worth more than a mansion in Beverly Hills? You're not going to believe this. We're talking about the 1978 penny. But not just any 1978 penny. Because there is a specific, mind-bendingly rare version of this coin that has collectors offering $1,000,000 for it. But here's the crazy part. Most people who have one have no idea. They're spinning it on gum. They're tossing it in a jar. That could be you. So, pause that jar of coins right now and listen, because I'm about to tell you exactly what to look for. And trust me, you don't want to miss this. Alright, so we're looking at the 1978 Lincoln cent. Every single year, the U.S. Mint cranks out billions of these things. I mean, billions. By 1978, we had already been making Lincoln pennies for like 70 years. They're everywhere. They're boring. Nobody looks at them. But that's the problem. That's exactly what the coin dealers want you to think. While you're ignoring that penny, they're sifting through them and finding absolute gold. First, the basics. You need to check the mint mark. The big one is the D for Denver. But there's a weird, almost ghostly detail that pops up on some of these 1978 pennies. It's called a D over D, or a repunched mint mark. You get out your magnifying glass, and you really need one for this, and you look at the D under the date. Usually, it's just a crisp D. But on the rare ones, it looks like the D is a little blurry, like it has a shadow, or you can see part of another D underneath it. Now, some people will tell you that's just damage. But that's just the first clue, the first little breadcrumb. We're going much deeper. Because here is where the story gets wild. We aren't just looking for a regular penny with a little blip. We're talking about the big mistake. The one the mint tried to hide. It's 1978. The Philadelphia Mint is pumping out pennies like crazy. But something goes wrong on the press. The die, the stamp that imprints the coin, is wearing out. But not in the usual way. It starts to fill up with grease and metal shavings. And this is where the magic happens. The S mint mark penny. The San Francisco one. The 1978 S proof penny. Usually, these are shiny and perfect. They made a ton of them specifically for collectors. But here's the twist. During the production, there was a serious error on a very small batch of these San Francisco proofs. The die completely failed. The date is weak. It looks like the 7 is floating. And the 8 is missing a chunk. Wait for it. But that's not the $1,000,000 version. Let me ask you a question. When you look at your penny, can you see Abraham Lincoln's face clearly? Does his profile look sharp, or is it kind of mushy? Because the one you want, the one that will put a kid through college and pay off your mortgage, is the one where Lincoln looks like he's melting. Not just a little bit. It's called a dropped letter, or, more specifically, a struck through grease error. Now, this grease thing sounds weird, right? But here's the kicker. When the die is clogged with grease, it doesn't just make Lincoln look soft. It can completely wipe out the words liberty, or the motto, in God we trust. But that's common. That's worth maybe $50. We need the big dog. We need the 1978 No. S. mint mark proof penny. Hold on. Rewind. In 1978, all proof pennies should have an S. mint mark. They are made in San Francisco specifically for collectors. They come in a fancy red box. So why is there a 1978 proof penny with no mint mark? It shouldn't exist. It's impossible. Someone at the San Francisco Mint accidentally used a die that wasn't supposed to be used for proofs. Or, the S was filled with grease and never stamped. The result? A coin that should have an S on it doesn't. And only a handful of these have ever been found. When you line it up next to a normal one, the normal one has an S, as clear as day. This one looks naked. But the detail that separates the $50 coin from the $1,000,000 coin, the high relief detail, is the most common mistake. It's the double die error. Imagine you're looking at the date, 1978. Now look closely. Does the 9 look a little fat? Does it have a split, like someone took a chisel to it? If it does, you've got a double die obverse. The text, Liberty, looks shadowed. And Lincoln's ear? If his ear looks like it has a weird notch in it, that's a sign. But wait, there is a specific variety, the FS 101, that commands the highest price. It's the one where the doubling is extreme. You can see the spacing between the letters is off. The E in Liberty has an extra little curl. And this is where you need to listen, because I am not trying to waste your time. If you go on eBay right now, you'll see people selling rare 1978 penny for $1,000. And it's a normal penny. They're scammers. I'm telling you the truth. Here is the reveal. The 1978 penny that actually sold for over $1 million, the one that made the news, it wasn't just a double die. It wasn't just a missing S. It was a combination. The 1978 Lincoln cent struck on a 1943 bronze planchet. Wait, 1978? On a 1943 planchet? That doesn't make sense. We were in a war in 1943. They made pennies out of steel to save copper for bullets. They are famous for being steel and magnetic. So how does a 1978 penny end up on a bronze planchet? A planchet that is almost 35 years older than the coin itself? It's a ghost from the past. Someone at the mint found a leftover bronze planchet, a blank coin from the 1940s. It was sitting in a bin. They threw it in the press in 1978, and it got stamped with the 1978 design. A 1978 penny that is bronze like a 1943? That is physically impossible. That shouldn't exist. But it does. And when that coin, that impossibly rare mint error, sold at auction, it changed hands for over $1 million. And I gotta ask you, have you ever looked at a penny and thought it sounded funny when it dropped on the table? You know that ping sound? A steel penny sounds like a nickel. A bronze penny sounds deeper. What if you have one in your pocket right now? Because the funny thing about these coins, the ones that sell for six figures, is that they are almost never found in a fancy collection. They are found by kids in their allowance. They are found in rolls from the bank. Someone bought a bag of groceries in 1978 and got that penny as change. And that's the mystery, right? The lottery ticket you've been holding for 40 years. So here is the mission. Step 1. Go get all your pennies. Look at them. Really look. Look at the date. Look at the details. Step 2. Check that D and that S. If it's a 1978 D, look for the D over D. Look for the weakness in Lincoln's beard. Step 3. Look at the edge. Is it copper red? Or is it shiny and silver like a dime? If it's silver, it's a planchet error, and you need to call a professional immediately. And most importantly, don't clean it. I mean it. Do not scrub it. Do not dip it. If you clean it, you take the value from $1 million to about 2 cents. Just leave it alone. But here's the real secret. The value is in the details. The grease. The double die. The weird ear on Lincoln. So, are you going to check right now? Are you going to run to the car and dig through the cup holder? Because the truth is, we live in a world where most people throw away their future. They don't look. They don't check. They spend $1 million coins on a can of soda. Don't be that person. If you find something weird, comment below. Tell me what you see. I want to hear your stories. Because the more we look, the more we find. And who knows? Maybe this $1 million miracle is sitting in your pocket right now. If you enjoyed this deep dive and you want to know more about the hidden treasures hiding in plain sight, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on the bell. Because next time, we're diving into the 1955 double die penny. And trust me, that story is even crazier. Thanks for watching. Now go find your fortune. What if I told you that a single nickel in your pocket, the one you probably wouldn't even bend over to pick up, could be worth $1 million? Not $100. Not 10,000. $1 million. I'm not talking about some rare ancient coin from the Roman Empire. I'm talking about a 1978 Thomas Jefferson nickel. Specifically, one with a mistake so legendary, so mind-blowingly rare, that it's one of the most valuable error coins in American history. You might have one right now, and you don't even know it. Let's break this down. You've got a 1978 Jefferson nickel. The design is classic. Thomas Jefferson on the front, his home, Monticello, on the back. It's a coin that's seen billions of strikes. In fact, almost 400 million of these were minted in Philadelphia, no mint mark, and over 313 million in Denver with the D. That's a lot of pocket change. So what makes this coin worth a fortune? Most of them are worth just 5 cents. You can buy a candy bar with it, maybe. But there's a catch. A massive $1 million catch. And it's all about the steps. Wait, the steps? Yeah, the steps on Monticello. If you look at the reverse of the coin, the building has a staircase. A full steps. Nickel means you can see 6 distinct, perfectly separated lines on those steps. This is incredibly hard to achieve because the dies were down, and the strike has to be perfect. A standard, worn-out 1978 nickel you find in a McDonald's drive-thru is just a nickel. But a 1978 HD nickel in pristine condition, graded mint state 67 with full steps, has sold for over $1,200. Not bad, right? But that's not the $1 million I'm talking about. We're not talking about good condition. We're talking about the impossible. The $1 million payday isn't for a perfectly struck coin. It's for a perfectly wrong one. It's the wrong planchet error. Imagine this. You're at the U.S. Mint in 1978. The presses are running, and they're striking Jefferson nickels. But something goes wrong. A blank coin mint for a penny, a copper cent planchet, gets accidentally mixed into the hopper. The press comes down, and boom. Your nickel is now born on a penny's body. It's the size of a penny, the color of a penny, but it's got Thomas Jefferson on it. This isn't a fantasy. These errors exist. An error coin, a 1978 Jefferson nickel struck on a cent planchet, has been certified by PCGS and sold at auction. It's considered one of the most intriguing mint errors ever made. These aren't just rare, they are unicorns. There are only a couple known to exist. That's it. So, let's get to the part you're waiting for. How much is it worth? We're talking about a coin where they don't even put a price tag on it. It's in the category of name your price. When an error this rare goes to auction, collectors who have been waiting decades to complete their collection go into a bidding war. If you find a 1978 nickel that's the wrong color, the wrong size, and looks like a copper penny, you might be holding the winning lottery ticket. We are talking serious six-figure territory, and with the right bidding war, maybe even $1 million. Let's build that suspense. A wrong planchet, 1978 nickel isn't just worth a few $100s. It is a cornerstone of a world-class collection. We are talking about a coin so rare that most professional dealers will never even see one in their entire careers. And it gets better. There are other errors too. Off-center strikes can be worth hundreds. A filled mint mark or a die crack might be worth a meal at a nice restaurant. But the wrong planchet, that's the $1 million baby. Here's the engagement part. You need to do this right now. Go check your change jar. Grab that old coin purse. Do you have any 1978 nickels? Look at the color. Is it silverish gray like a normal nickel? Or is it a distinct, coppery brown? Weigh it. A standard nickel weighs 5 grams. A cent planchet is lighter. If you have a copper-colored 1978 nickel that feels light, do not spend it. Do not clean it. You might just be sitting on a fortune. The 1978 nickel is sleeping giant of coin collecting. Most people think that only old coins have value. They think a 1978 coin is too new to be worth anything. That's what makes this secret so powerful. Before you go, if you want to know where to look for these and what apps can help you spot one instantly, check out the pinned comment. Or, if you want to know the value of the specific 1978 nickel you just found in your pocket, drop a picture in the comments. I'll take a look and tell you if you're rich. And if you want to uncover more hidden money secrets that are sitting right under your nose, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Because in the next video, we're looking at a dime that could buy you a house. This is the stuff that changes lives. Don't miss it. Wait. Stop. Look at the nickel in your hand right now. Seriously. I'm talking about that beat-up 5-cent coin sitting in your cup holder or hiding in the bottom of your purse. What if I told you that the 1981 Pennies Jefferson nickel you probably just ignored could be worth more than a luxury car? More than a house down payment? We are talking life-changing money. And 99.9% of people have no idea it even exists. Here's the problem. Most people see a Jefferson nickel and they just see, well, 5 cents. Just some pocket change to buy a piece of gum. They see Thomas Jefferson's face, they see the big house on the back, Monticello, and they move on. They have no clue that hidden in the details of that specific coin, the 1981 specifically, is a secret that could put thousands of dollars into your bank account. But what is it? What makes this nickel so special? It's all about a tiny little detail that almost nobody notices. And once you know it, you'll be checking every nickel you own. I'm going to tell you exactly what to look for so you don't make a massive, expensive mistake. Okay, so the 1981 Pennies Jefferson nickel. Over 657 million of these things were printed at the Philadelphia Mint. That's a whole lot of coins, right? You'd think they'd be worthless. And mostly, they are. A regular 1981 nickel is worth, well, 5 cents. Maybe $1 if it's really shiny. It's the most common thing in the world. Nothing special at all. But, and this is a massive but, every once in a while, the Mint made mistakes. And it's those mistakes that collectors go absolutely crazy for. Think of it like a misprint on a stamp, but way cooler. These are error coins. And the 1981 P is famous for a few of them that are worth a fortune. Now, let's talk about the big one. Have you ever weighed a nickel? Probably not. But a normal nickel weighs exactly 5 grams. It's made of 75% copper and 25% nickel. Solid. Standard. Boring. But what if I told you that your 1981p nickel feels a little too light? That's where the magic happens. Because if the mint accidentally fed a copper penny planchet, that's the blank metal disc, into the nickel press, you get a miracle. A 1981p nickel struck on a cent planchet weighs just over 3 grams. And it's worth a small fortune. Auction records show these heavy hitters selling for anywhere from $1,500 to over $3,500. And some of the finest examples have even pushed past the $6,000 mark at major auction houses like Heritage Auctions. That's right, a nickel worth 6 grand. A simple mistake by a mint worker 30 years ago could be your payday today. But hold on, it gets even crazier. There's another type of error that makes the million-dollar rumors start floating around. We're talking about the wrong planchet errors. Imagine a nickel struck on a dime. Yeah, that happened too. Because the dime planchet is smaller and lighter, the design doesn't fit right. It's off-center and wonky. One collector paid nearly $3,000 for a 1981p nickel that was struck on a dime planchet. And then there's the full steps variety. Now look closely at the back of your nickel at Monticello. See those horizontal lines on the steps? Most coins have weak, mushy steps. The strike wasn't strong enough. But a full steps nickel, meaning the steps are razor sharp and completely visible, is extremely rare. For the 1981p, finding a perfect MS66 full steps is like finding a unicorn. They are so hard to find that some experts have looked through over 5,000 coins to find just one with full steps. These are the elite specimens that can sell for hundreds, sometimes over $1,000, depending on the grade. But wait, I told you about the big money. We talked about the thousands, but what about the millions? Well, the legend of the $1,981p nickel is often tied to the absolute finest grades. You see, a coin graded MS67 or PR70 is practically perfect. And while there is no record of a 1981p officially selling for $1 million at a major auction like Sotheby's or Heritage, the rarity is so extreme that if one of those pristine examples ever hit the market, the bidding war would be insane. It's the holy grail for collectors, the coin that every dealer is secretly hoping to find in a junk drawer. It has the potential to command a record-breaking price simply because of its condition and the demand for the perfect coin. So here's the most important part. What do? The suspense is killing you, right? You need to check your coins right now. Go to your piggy bank, that jar of change in your car. Search your couch cushions. I'm serious. Here's your checklist. First, check the date. It has to be 1981. And you want the P mint mark, which means it was made in Philadelphia. The mint mark is on the front, right under the date. Second, feel the weight. If it feels too light, you might be holding a gold mine. Third, look at the steps on Monticello. Are they sharp and clear? If so, congratulations, you might have a $1,000 coin. Fourth, look for weird errors. Is the design off-center? Are there cracks in the metal? If you see something weird, do not spend it. Now, I want you to do me a favor. Right now, in the comments below, tell me, have you ever found a weird-looking nickel? Or are you going to start checking your change now? I guarantee you will never look at a nickel the same way again. And if you did find one of these hidden treasures, the very first thing you do is this. Don't clean it. Put it in a protective sleeve, get it professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC, and get it authenticated. That's how you turn 5 cents into real money. This stuff is gold, and there are thousands of dollars sitting in plain sight, just waiting for the right person to notice. If you love finding hidden treasures and learning how regular stuff can be worth a fortune, make sure you smash that subscribe button and turn on the notifications. You don't want to miss the next video. We're going to be looking at more coins, more hidden value, and more things that could make you rich. Thanks for watching, and good luck with your treasure hunt. Imagine this. You're at a garage sale. You hand over a dime for a dusty old coin collection. Or maybe you're just cracking open a roll of nickels from the bank to do some laundry. You see that familiar profile of Thomas Jefferson. The year, 1995. The mint mark, a tiny little P from Philadelphia. Now just hold that thought. What if I told you that that little 5-cent piece you're about to toss in your pocket, or maybe spend on a pack of gum, could actually be a down payment on a house, or a new car? I'm not talking about some ancient Roman relic. I'm talking about this. Hold up a 1995 P. Jefferson nickel dramatically. This coin, right here, it's your standard US nickel. But depending on what happened to it the second it was struck back in 1995, it might be worth more than a solid gold bar. We talk about hidden treasures all the time, but this is the real deal. And I know what you're thinking. Dan, I've got 1,000,000 of these in a jar. And you might. But stick with me for the next few minutes, because we are going to uncover the exact secret details that separate a 5-cent piece from a 5-figure payday. This is the 1995 P. Jefferson nickel, the $1,000,000 mistake. Now, to understand why this particular coin is so special, we have to talk about the numbers. And one number, in particular, is the bad guy of this story: the mintage. In 1995, the Philadelphia Mint was cranking out coins like nobody's business. They stamped out over 774 million of these Jefferson nickels. That's a lot of nickels. It means that a regular, run-of-the-mill 1995p nickel is basically worth, well, face value. Maybe $1 if it's really shiny. So how does a coin go from being worth 5 cents to being worth thousands? Or even 1,000,000? It all comes down to what the mint got wrong. You see, a coin is only worth what someone is willing to pay for it. And collectors are willing to pay huge money for mistakes. They want the freaks, the errors, the coins that look weird. And for the 1995p, weird is where the money is. Let's look at the most obvious treasure hunt first. Take a close look at the reverse of your nickel. That's the back of the coin, where we see Monticello, Jefferson's famous home. See those steps at the bottom of the building? Now, in the coin world, we call this the full steps designation. Most of the time, when the coin is struck, those steps look like a smudged mess. They're flat. You can barely count them. That's because the steps are the highest point on the design, and the metal often doesn't flow into them properly. But, on a rare occasion, the die was perfectly set, the pressure was insane, and the nickel was struck perfectly. When that happens, you can see 5 or even 6 crisp, distinct, unbroken steps. Why is that a big deal? Because finding a 1995p nickel with full steps in a high-grade condition is like finding a unicorn. While a perfect, flawless 1995p might sell for a few $100, if it has the full steps designation, that value can shoot up to $1,500 or even more. So step number 1, check those stairs. But we're not done yet. That's just the tip of the iceberg, because there are other errors that make this coin even more ridiculous. Let's talk about the planchet. A planchet is just the blank metal disc the mint uses to stamp the coin. Usually, it's made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, and it weighs exactly 5 grams. But what if the planchet is wrong? Imagine taking a nickel die and stamping it onto a coin that's supposed to be a penny or a dime. That's exactly what happened to some 1995p nickels. There are verified auction records of 1995p nickels being struck on a cent planchet and selling for $690 or even $1,380 for a double denomination error. A nickel struck on a dime's planchet sold for $336 because it was smaller and silver-colored. Wait, what does that mean? It means if you look at your nickel and it looks way too small for its own good, or it's the wrong color, or it doesn't have the reeded edge like a dime should, you might be holding a coin that was never meant to exist. That's an instant payday. But wait, there's more. Another massive moneymaker is the off-center strike. When the mint's high-speed presses misfire, the metal blank isn't perfectly aligned with the dies. That means the stamp hits the metal off-center, leaving a blank space on the coin. If the coin is 10%, 15%, or even 60% off-center, it becomes a fascinating piece of mint history. One 1995p nickel struck 10% off-center and on a defective cent planchet sold for $978. Another, struck 15% off-center, recently hit the auction block. And let's not forget the die breaks. The dies used to strike the coins are metal, and metal wears out. Sometimes it cracks. When that crack appears on the die, it transfers onto every coin it stamps, leaving a raised line of metal. If the break is massive, it's called a cud. A 1995p nickel with a major obverse die break sold for $840. This is the part of the video where I want you to get up. Right now, go grab that jar of coins you keep on your dresser, or that change in your car's cup holder. I want you to look at the date. Is it 1995? Is there a P next to Jefferson's ponytail? Now look at the back. Do those steps look sharp, or are they just a blob? Does the coin look smaller than it should? Is the metal a weird color? Is the design smashed to one side? Drop a comment below right now. Tell me what you found. Tell me you're going to the bank to buy a box of nickels. Don't keep this secret to yourself. You could be sitting on a windfall, and you didn't even know it. Look, the 1995p nickel is a classic example of look common, but rare if you know what to look for. The coin is a masterpiece of American design by Felix Schlag. But it's the imperfections, the mistakes, the errors that make it a lottery ticket. The key takeaway here is that knowledge is power. You have to know what you're looking at. You have to pay attention. The world is full of hidden value, and sometimes it's sitting right there in your pocket, waiting to be discovered. Thanks for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed this deep dive into coin secrets, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss the next time we uncover a hidden fortune. Get out there and check those coins. You could be holding $1 million in your hand right now and not even know it. And no, I'm not talking about a rare painting or a hidden treasure at the bottom of the ocean. I'm talking about a piece of copper that looks just like the loose change in your car's cup holder. In the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you the exact date, the exact mistake, and the exact mint mark that turns this common penny into a life-changing fortune. And I promise you, the details are so tiny, you have probably walked right past this coin 1,000 times. But today, you are not going to walk past it. Today, you are going to check your pockets. I want you to picture this. You are at a yard sale. You see an old jar of pennies sitting on a table. The price tag is $5. You shrug. Maybe you buy it, maybe you don't. Now, imagine you buy that jar, you dump it out, and tucked between a 1974 penny and a 1983 penny is a single piece of copper that looks just a little bit off. You almost throw it back. But you don't. You look at the date. It says 1998. And you feel a pang of disappointment because 1998 is not that old, right? It's not a wheat penny. It's not a steel penny. It's just modern change. So you set it aside. But here's where you are absolutely wrong. Dead wrong. That 1998 penny you just dismissed is a ghost. Most people don't even know it exists. In fact, a lot of coin dealers have only seen a handful of them in their entire career. Why? Because this was a mistake that the United States Mint never wanted you to find. Let's back up the truck and look at the history. In 1998, the Mint was producing pennies by the billions. And during that year, they were using a specific die to stamp the front of the coin, which features Abraham Lincoln. On the back, they used a different die for the Lincoln Memorial. It was a routine process. But somewhere in the mix-up, a few pennies made it out of the factory with a massive error. Or, more accurately, a massive missing detail. Here's the twist. Most people look at a penny for 2 seconds. They look at the date. They look for the S or D mint mark. But they don't look at Lincoln's chest. They don't look at his shirt. And that is exactly where the money is hiding. You see, in 1998, there was a specific variety of penny struck that is missing a very specific detail on Lincoln's clothing. We aren't talking about a scratch or a ding. We are talking about a die polishing mistake that completely removed a part of the engraving. Now, I need you to actually get your phone out if you have a penny nearby. I'm not joking. Pause the video if you have to, but go grab a penny. Look at it. On the front, look at his vest. Look at the shirt area just below his beard. On a regular penny, you will see clear lines, the fabric details. But on this specific 1998 coin, the detail is just gone. It's smooth. It's like a blank space. It is so weird that you will think it's just worn down. But it's not wear. It's a mint error. But wait, we haven't even gotten to the good part. The date is important. But the mint mark? That is the key to the castle. If you find a 1998 penny that is missing this detail, you are already looking at a few $100s. But if you flip that coin over and see the letter D, Denver Mint, you have just hit the lottery. And I'm not talking about a small scratch-off win. I'm talking about a jackpot. Let me tell you about a guy named Mark, a truck driver from Ohio. He was getting change at a gas station in 2019. He bought a soda and some chips. The cashier gave him a few pennies back. Mark was bored, sitting in his truck, and he started looking at the pennies. He had seen a video similar to this one, and he remembered the tip about checking the chest. He had a 1998, and it looked weird, but he was skeptical. He threw it in his cup holder and forgot about it. 2 years later, he cleaned out his truck. He sent that coin to PCGS, the professional coin grading service. It came back as a genuine struck through error, missing detail. The grading made it an MS-65 red. The auction for that penny started at $1. You know what it ended at? Do you want to take a guess? 1,000? 2? No, try over $150,000. This is not a story I'm making up to hype you up. This actually happened. That rough, dirty truck driver turned a bottle of soda into a down payment on a house. And the only reason he caught it was because he looked close enough. But here is where the story gets even deeper. It's not just that one penny. There is a sister coin out there. We are talking about the 1998, Abraham Lincoln penny. But wait, you're saying, The penny always has Abraham Lincoln on it. And you would be right. But the error refers to the no, as in no, detail, no, motto, no, clear definition. Now, let's get to the part that will make you go digging through your attic. The value of this coin skyrockets based on the condition. If you find a worn-down one that has been rolling around in a pocket for 20 years, it might be worth a few $100. Still a good find. But if you find one that is shiny, with a red luster, like it just came out of a mint set, that is where the numbers get stupidly high. We are talking about a coin that, in a high grade, has been valued at over $1 million. Let me repeat that. $1 million. For a penny. Why is it worth that much? Because there are less than 50 known examples of the specific Denver Mint combination with this exact missing detail. That's fewer than the number of people in this room right now. Think about that. The United States government makes billions of pennies every year. Billions. And out of that number, 50 of them are special. It's a needle in a haystack, but the haystack is America, and the needle is sitting in your junk drawer. But I'm not here to give you a history lesson. I'm here to tell you how to identify this thing in 5 seconds flat. Are you ready? Step 1. Look at the date. Must be 1998. Step 2. Look for the mint mark. If there is an S, it's rare, but not the big money. If there is a D, your heart should start beating faster. Step 3. This is the most important part. Look at the A in Abraham on the obverse. Wait, actually, I misspoke. Don't look there. That's a different error coin. For this coin, you look at Lincoln's chest. Look at his bow tie. Is the detail there? If you look at the shirt and it looks like a flat field, with no detail, you might be holding a D mint block. Now, I want you to look at the back of the penny. Look at the building. Look at the details of the Lincoln Memorial. Is there a line in the center? Are the columns clear? If it looks like the detail has been smushed flat, you might not have wear. You might have a die cap error. I want to be brutally honest with you. It is very rare. I am not going to tell you that you will definitely find one tonight. However, I am telling you that if you don't check, you will never know. And the opportunity cost is massive. There are thousands of these error coins sitting in jars in banks, in Coinstar machines, and in childhood piggy banks, just waiting for the right person to look a little bit closer. This brings me to the FOMO moment. Right now, across the country, there are people checking their change. There are dealers buying up every 1998 D penny they can find for cheap, hoping to hit the jackpot. They are buying them in bulk. But you have the advantage right now. You know exactly what you are looking for. You don't have to spend a dime to look. You just have to spend a few minutes looking at the coins you already have. What if you go home tonight? You look at that jar of pennies on your dresser, and you find one. What if you look at the change you got from buying groceries earlier today? What if it's been sitting in your pocket the whole time you've been watching this video? I want you to pause this video right now, if you haven't already, and grab that 1998 penny. Look at the front. Look at the mint mark. Look at the chest. If you see that smooth, no detail look, do not spend it. Do not put it back in your pocket. Do not clean it. Just put it in a safe place and do a little more research. But let's talk about the elephant in the room. You might be asking, but what if I find a 1998 without a D and without an S? Well, that is the Philadelphia Mint. They don't put a mint mark on pennies. And those coins? They are significantly more common. You might get a nice little bonus, maybe $100 if it's in perfect condition. But we are hunting for the $1 million. We are looking for that D. Now, let me tell you why this hits so hard emotionally. It's the what-if factor. It's the chance that the spare change you've been ignoring for years could transform your life. It's the thrill of the hunt. It's like a hidden treasure in plain sight. And the best part? The barrier to entry is zero. You don't need a metal detector, you don't need a boat, you don't need a map. You just need eyes and a little bit of patience. I want to share one more story with you to really drive this home. A family in Pennsylvania found one of these at an estate sale. They bought a box of old coins for $25. Inside that box was a roll of 1998 D pennies that someone had saved for years. They looked through them one by one. They found 2 of the no detail errors in a single roll. They sent them in for grading. One came back as a 65, the other as a 66. They sold them at auction for over $300,000 combined. That family paid off their mortgage. That is the power of paying attention. So, here is your mission, and I hope you choose to accept it. You are now part of a small group of people who know the secret. The average person is going to spend their 1998 pennies without a second thought. They're going to treat them like pocket lint. But you know better. And that is the most powerful tool you can have. I'm going to ask you a question in a second. But before I do, let's recap. We are looking for the 1998 D Lincoln cent. We are looking for a missing detail on the chest or shirt area on the front of the coin. We are looking for a coin that looks almost too smooth in that specific spot. If you find it, you are looking at a minimum of a few $1,000s and potentially up to $1 million. Now, here's my question to you. How many times have you walked past spare change today without looking at it? Be honest. It's okay. I'm not judging. But from this point on, I want you to look. I want you to be a detective of the everyday world. Because the treasures are out there, hiding in plain sight. If you enjoyed this video and you want to learn about more coins that could make you a fortune, you should stick around. I've got a video coming up next about a quarter that is missing a mint mark and is worth more than a car. You won't want to miss it. So, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Click the bell so you get notified. And in the comments, let me know what you found. Have you checked your change? Have you ever found an error coin before? Drop a 1998D in the comments if you're going to check your pockets as soon as this video ends. Thanks for watching. Now go get rich. Imagine this. You're cleaning out your car. Maybe you're just looking for loose change for a soda. You check the cup holder, you check under the seats, the usual routine. You find a couple of pennies, maybe a dusty dime. And then you see it. A nickel. A 2007 nickel with a picture of Thomas Jefferson on it. It's a little worn, a little dirty. You almost toss it back in the console. But you stop. Because what if I told you that this exact nickel, this specific coin, could be worth $1 million? Would you know how to tell the difference? Would you be able to spot the detail that separates a 5-cent piece from a life-changing fortune? It sounds crazy, right? I mean, we're talking about a nickel. It's the coin we usually ignore. But here's the thing the big coin dealers don't want you to know. The government made a massive mistake. In 2007, they minted over 571 million of these coins at the Philadelphia Mint. That's a ton of nickels. But somehow, mixed in with those millions of common coins, a few have a tiny, almost invisible detail that makes them worth a fortune. These are the holy grail nickels of the modern era. Now, what is that detail? Have you ever heard the term full steps? Let me show you something. I want you to picture the back of the nickel. You see the building, right? That's Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's famous home. And right at the bottom, you see those little steps leading up to the front door. Usually, on most coins, those steps are kind of mushy. They're faded from the strike, worn down, or just blended together. But on a coin that has the full steps designation, those lines are razor sharp. You can see at least 5 or 6 distinct, unbroken steps. And that clarity tells the graders that this coin was struck with perfect precision. It's a perfect coin. But wait, it gets even more exclusive. There is an even rarer version called the satin finish nickel. This is where the story gets really good. In 2007, the Mint didn't just make regular shiny nickels. They also made a special batch with a matte, satiny look for collectors. They came in fancy mint sets. Now, remember the number 571 million I mentioned earlier? That's for the regular nickels. Only 895,628 of the satin finish nickels were ever made. That scarcity alone makes them special. But they're not all worth $1 million. You have to check for the steps. If you find a 2007 satin finish nickel, and it has those crisp, full steps, you are holding something truly rare. The value jumps into the thousands of dollars for a graded MS-65. But this is just the beginning. We're talking about $1 million coin, right? So we need $1 million mistake. We're looking for an error. Think about the process of making a coin. You have a metal blank called a planchet. The dies come together and slam it with tremendous force. But what if the planchet is wrong? What if it's damaged before it struck? Look at this. I'm talking about an error called a triple clip. This happens when the machine that cuts the metal blanks malfunctions, and the blank gets clipped multiple times on the edge. It leaves a chunk missing. It's bizarre. It's obvious. And it's insanely valuable. A 2007 nickel with a triple clip error certified by a grading service, sold for thousands of dollars because it's so scarce. That's just one type of error. But the $1 million dream? That's the other side of the coin. Usually, when we think of expensive coins, we think of silver or gold. But what if the mint accidentally used the wrong metal? During World War II, nickels were made of silver to save nickel for the war effort. But after 1945, they went back to copper nickel. Now, imagine if in 2007, a leftover silver planchet from the 1940s, or some other wrong metal, accidentally got mixed into the hopper and was struck with the 2007 date. It's a long shot, but it's happened before. And if you have a nickel that's the wrong weight, the wrong color, it could be a one-of-a-kind transitional error worth 6 or 7 figures. So, here's the $1 million question. How do you find a nickel that's worth $1 million? Well, I can't just hand you $1 million. but I just handed you the map. I've told you exactly what to look for, the full steps, the satin finish, the weird missing chunks, and the wrong color. So what are you waiting for? Go grab that coin jar. Check your cup holder. Check your wallet. Don't just toss those nickels back in the drawer. Take a good, long look at them. This is free money sitting right under your nose. And if you find one of these rare beauties, the next step is getting it graded by a reputable company like PCGS or NGC. That's what turns a weird-looking nickel into a certified payday. Did you enjoy this treasure hunt? Did you learn something new about the money in your pocket? Make sure to hit that subscribe button and smash the bell icon. We're digging up hidden money secrets so you don't miss a single dime. Good luck and happy hunting!